Okay, I think it's just the note takers that are here, but let's just give it a minute and then we'll start at 12:01. We should do the elevator music. I think for 2026, we'll do the background music. I'm sure Teams has that functionality.
It should soon.
Okay, 12:01. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final session of the year. I know what December feels like. The deadlines keep multiplying, the meetings are actually still coming, and somehow we are all expected to look enthusiastic while our brains operate on battery saver mode. If you made it here today, well done. You carved out an hour that might actually give you something back. Before we get in, a quick reminder that our Q&A panel is open throughout the session, or you can drop in your questions or comments in the chat, and we will address them at the end before we wrap up. I hope you have tea or coffee within arm's reach. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, so you can revisit the session when your calendar finally stops shouting at you. So today's session is really about stepping back, so you can step into the new year with clarity that has been missing for a while. This is a mindset, a mindful reset for anyone who has been running on fumes. Hands up there. Let's face it, this really has been a busy year. So we'll look at practical ways to revive your focus, break through the mental overload, and create small shifts that actually last. We will also look at how AI can support your well-being instead of adding to the noise. I think this was the epic year of everything AI. And the goal is simple. By the end of the session, you should feel lighter, clearer, and ready to finish the year on your terms. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Lauren Clark, our head of people.
Thank you, Sue. And thank you to everybody for joining today. I really do appreciate your time and your interest. This is a topic that's very close to my heart, and I'm a big advocate for just taking care of yourself and not crashing into December like a car crash where you've run out of absolutely everything, and then you spend the first 5 days of your well-deserved December leave trying to get your breath back and overdosing on AC200 because your immune system has just gone absolutely no more. Okay, so that's what I want to leave you with today. I've got a little bit of interactive exercise, but it's more just for you to chat a little bit. And as Sue mentioned, you're welcome to drop some comments or questions into the chat. But I hope to leave you today with something that you can really use and just have a little bit more control over your December. So just Sue's already introduced me. HR, I've been in HR for over 25 years now, and people are my thing. I love working with people and I love understanding people, and I've been on a very intentional personal growth journey myself. And one of those things has been around taking better care of myself. You can't, everybody knows this, you can't pour from an empty cup, but you also can't tell others not to pour from an empty cup, and they're observing you gasping and black rings under your eyes and emotionally and physically drained. So it's really been a very intentional goal of mine to ensure that by the time I get into December, I'm not frazzled and burned out, because I want the team and the people around me to observe ways of managing yourself and understanding how to be more equipped for a better December. So that's who I am, and a very big welcome to everybody who's joining me today. I think December has become synonymous with Black Friday. So Black Friday is the end of November, and it seems to carry on into December with all these deals and that. Plus, we have year-end events, wrapping up projects, wrapping up conversations, plans, etc. And then planning Christmas, family get-togethers, holidays, etc. So we seem to cram a lot into the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. And as a result, you catch yourself dropping the ball. You forget this, you scramble to do that, you add too many things to your to-do list, you climb into bed at night and you're like, oh, I didn't even get halfway, I've got so much to do. And what happens is this doesn't energize us, it actually just drains us. So I was chatting with my CrossFit coach. Some of the Mint ladies met Lara in August, and she said she can see it in the number of people who don't show up to classes in December. You've made all these commitments, but you're so tired and you're so exhausted, and the thought of now going to do your run or your workout or your paddle game or what have you actually fills you with dread, and so you don't go. And then you get negative, down in the dumps because I missed this a commitment. And so this vicious cycle begins. And when I chat to people about what this means for us individually, everyone is already jumping ahead. I've got to do this. I have this happening. We're going to do this. And the missing link is, where am I right now? So all I'm going to ask everyone to do right now is to just put both feet on the ground, put both hands in front of you. If you are sitting at a desk, put them on your desk. If you're sitting on a chair or a couch, put them on your lap. Sit up straight and just take 3 deep breaths in your nose and exhale out your mouth. And just anchor yourself. Let's be present right here, right now. Okay. I absolutely know that there's a lot going on, but just for this hour, just be here now. And really, this is now going to set the tone for December. So we want to train ourselves to stop living in the future of what's happened or what's going to happen, or living in the past of what's happened. But where am I right now? And be there. Okay. So the very first thing is understanding all the things that are happening around us and owning them. So very simply, what is in your control? So one of the very first things, those of you that are parents might know that you will never have more WhatsApp communications than the day that your child starts big school and also starts extracurricular cricket. I don't know what it is about cricket, and I don't know why in the cricket group there has to be 7 subgroups, but it became a point of actually about to throw my phone out the window until I realized I can archive everything. So the very first activity that you can do in December is archive all the unnecessary chats on your WhatsApp. Okay. That includes any community groups that you're a part of. You don't need all of that, really. December, we want to take a breather. We don't want to be bombarded. Okay, so what is in my control? And then do that. The same with your work stuff. When you go on leave, disable your notifications. You're on leave. You can't be checking your phone and responding to stuff. That's the point of leave, is that you're away. So if you truly want to be present, you have to identify the distractions and then action them. Okay, get rid of them. So it's really important that you give yourself the opportunity to be fully engaged. The second component to being present is the breathing exercise that we just did. There are a number of activities that you can do to become present, but one of the big things is just around engaging your senses. So touching things, smelling something, hearing something, just really anchoring yourself. For those of you who love Christmas music like I do, I love this time of year with the Christmas music. And as I've said, and there will be no comments on what I'm about to say, please, but this is the only time I listen to Mariah Carey. And that's because All I Want for Christmas Is You also. But the truth of the matter is that these little things anchor us. When we are listening to music, when we're smelling jasmine scented candles, when we are baking and it smells good, cooking, be there. Use your senses to just anchor you and allow your body to be anchored. Okay. It's really, really important. And then the last thing is to acknowledge what happens to yourself. How do you feel when you practice being present? So notice how your breathing slows, your heart rate slows. You kind of feel a little bit settled. And that's what we're aiming for. We don't want you to be in adrenaline mode in December. Okay, there shouldn't be anything. There's no saber-toothed tigers in December. They're hibernating in the Northern Hemisphere. You're safe. Okay, so embrace that and really stay focused on the things that are adding value to you. Okay, so this first part of the workshop is probably the hardest because it's the one that requires you to really do the hard work around taking control of your world. So some people are just not going to be in your world for December, and that's okay. It's really fun. And I know it sounds hard and it sounds brutal, but if they are stressing you out and they are adding more to your plate in a month when there's no more to be added, then that's not working towards your goal of being present. Okay. So not to worry. I know some of you are sitting there thinking, how am I going to tell my mother-in-law to butt out of the kitchen? That's not very helpful. I'm going to help you with that. I have a mother-in-law, but fortunately, she's a lovely angel, and she wouldn't butt into the kitchen, but mostly because I'm not going to be in the kitchen. So it's not going to bother me at all. But it is important for you to identify what are my triggers, or who are my triggers, and how can I manage them? Okay. So when we are talking about these things, December is not the start of now I'm going to do new things. This is the new me. No, December is not time for the new me. Okay. And very often we kind of crash into January from a crazy December and then wake up on the 1st and we're like, okay, this is the year that I'm going to do all of these great things. And all that does is we're creating promises to ourselves on a false sense of energy and enthusiasm. Okay, so gym memberships are a wonderful example of this. Okay, where everyone wakes up on the 1st and they're like, I'm absolutely going to the gym 3 times a week this year. Watch me now. And off they go. They sign up their contract. They're so enthusiastic, go straight to Mr. Price Sport, buy all of their equipment because they're still on that high. And then reality sets in 2 weeks later and they're like, I can't go to gym 3 times a week. I have other priorities. And when am I going to do homework? And I actually committed to doing studies this year. Okay, so December is not the time to go big. All right, so very, very important for everyone, but in particular, and I have mentioned this before, there is a certain gender that typically takes on more in December, and a lot of it is because those are the social norms, and also because they have this undying belief that no one else can do it. And I'm here to tell you that anyone can make Christmas lunch. If you know how to read a recipe book or watch YouTube videos, anyone can make a Christmas lunch, not just one person in the household. Anyone can wrap presents. Anyone can go and shop for presents. Okay, so don't be the hero. Don't be the person that is now sitting grinding your teeth on Christmas morning because nobody's thanked you and you've had to do everything and you were up late last night preparing everything and wrapping everything and moving Christmas elf and nobody's even acknowledged that. Because all you're doing is creating that, yes, anyone can fold in the cheese, eh? And you're creating resentment for yourself. And how many of you have spent Christmas drawers clenched with your pharmacy bought perfume because you never spoke up? Okay. And we get this resentment building up before. We almost pre-resent what's going to happen because we've already told ourselves what's going to happen. You already know that everything's going to land on you. Oh, if I don't do the decorations, nobody will. Put the decorations box in the lounge. And if you're a perfectionist and you like a perfect tree, go and pour yourself a glass of wine and look the other way. But don't create this desire for unrealistic expectations that you haven't communicated, and then you get angry and upset. And we do that in our families a lot. Okay. Don't plan to do 100 things. If you want to go and see the Christmas lights, go and see the Christmas lights. Don't go and see the Christmas lights, then go to a Christmas market, then pop past Santon City to finish your Christmas shopping. Okay, because all you're doing is diminishing the experience of the Christmas lights and stressing everybody else out because nobody wants to go to Santon City. And by the time you get home, what should have been a positive and impactful experience has now turned into a bit of a family war. Okay. The second thing is to speak up, and that is very, very intentional around what you want for Christmas. And it can be a gift. So if you want something specific, then make sure you've communicated that to whoever is the person that needs to do that. Or you can do what I do, which is to buy what I want and then wrap it and tell my son where the presents are that he got me. And then he's excited and I'm excited, and there we go. But I've spoken to my team and my colleagues about this before. No one can read your mind, no matter how well they know you, no matter how long you've been married, no matter how long you've been in the same family. No one can read your mind. Okay. So you really need to speak up and ask for help when you need it. And when you are wanting to do something, include everyone in the plan so that it doesn't all sit on you. Okay. Say no to overcommitments. So the same situation that we do in business. Years ago, we had a company meeting and we were talking about quality, and we asked people to define quality, and actually in a room full of people, nobody had the same definition of quality, because some people viewed it from a price, some people viewed it from an experience, and so on and so forth. And eventually we kind of chatted and aligned on quality is the definition of done. And the definition of done has to be agreed on before we start. So before we start a project, we all, clients, delivery team, sales, everybody understands what does done look like. We all agree on that. Then we can measure quality. The same thing happens in our life. Okay. So if you're now looking into December, what for you would be a really good Christmas? What does that look like for you? Have you spoken up? Have you had this conversation with your family? Are we all aligned of what a good Christmas or a good December looks like? Because then we can measure that and go, okay, this is what it looks like to us. We've agreed as a family or a partnership or a group or whomever, and this is my role in getting to that. I can't do everything. I'm not going to keep putting my hand up and going, yeah, I'll do that. No, I'll bring that. Okay, I can wrap that. No. This is what I'm going to do. Okay. And I think a big part of this is that simple marketing concept of always under promise and over deliver. And the same thing, because your family would be far happier to have a happy you than have all this delicious food and you so grumpy and irritable and banging things down on the table and rolling your eyes. Everyone's just going to get indigestion from watching you. Okay. So don't overcommit yourself. Don't overcommit your energy. Be realistic. The other thing that I think is really important is not to plan everything down to the last minute. So Enneagram type 1s, I'm talking to you. Allow for some spontaneity to happen in December. You don't need to plan every minute of every day. Okay. Just relax and let it happen. Sometimes the kids go to bed without bathing. Swimming in the pool is a bath in summer. We all know that. It's a fact. Okay. So allow yourself some time out. Allow yourself some spontaneity. Okay. Don't be rigid with planning, because as soon as we're rigid, if something doesn't happen, then we get tense again. All right. And last but definitely not least is thinking about your December, thinking about how you want to feel on the 31st, wrapping up December, getting ready for the new year. The thing that's going to stand out is the quality of your experiences as opposed to how many things we did. I was laughing just now. We jumped on this call a little bit earlier, and some of the marketing team members are born in the 90s, and I was in matric in the 90s. So we have a very different definition of how we're going to be spending New Year. And Pen, you're going to love Sun City and all that loud music and all those hundreds and thousands of people. And I am going to absolutely love my couch. And you know what the best part of that is that both of our experiences adding quality to our lives. But if we try to match each other's, we're not going to have a great time. Pen definitely doesn't want me to come to Sun City and be grumpy and roll my eyes and be like, oh, is this nearly over? And he definitely doesn't want to come and sit on the couch and play Rummy Cub and pretend that 9 o'clock is midnight so that my son can get to count down and go to bed. Okay. So when we understand what quality means to us, that's where our focus goes. And that's a really important thing to know about yourself and know about the people around you. Okay. Really, really important. So I hope these things are ringing some bells. I know a lot of comments have been popping up. I've been catching them as they've come up a bit. Every family has that struggle. Yes. Okay. So that's, yeah, really, really important. And I think the very best thing about this is when you think about December, okay, so we've already agreed we're not adding new stuff. We're not making, I'm not doing big changes now. The most important component to all of this is me in my strategy, in my December, okay? What do I want? Not what does my family want? What do my kids want? What does the neighbors want? What do I want for December? And how do I bring that into all of this? And absolutely, those of you that have got family members and extended families to consider, sure, you're going to have to compromise and meet each other, but don't dim your desires because you're trying to be the December hero. Really, really important. Okay. So for you guys, everybody on this call, my challenge to you is for these 4 things. And I have created a little worksheet for you. And this is something that's really, really important. And it requires you to do these things. So this is not something where you finish this workshop today and you're like, oh, that was nice. Laura said some good things. I must remember that. And then by 4 p.m. you're back into the hustle. Okay. The most important thing is be a part of December. Don't be the puppet master and then you're excluded. Okay, so make sure you are part of. You can't be the one coordinating everything and running back and forth. You need to be part of. And that includes the things you want to do, the fun things. Or in my case, I have a future. We're going to the beach on Sunday and I have 10 days of beach cricket in my future. But I also have 10 days worth of books to read. So we're going to find a compromise, and my son knows I love reading, and so I'm very happy to play cricket in the morning, and then he lets me read in the afternoon. We're both happy, but I'm not doing all the things I don't want to do and then getting resentful. Okay. Rejuvenate your spirit, and this is the sense of belonging. Go where you feel good. Be with people who make you feel good. I'm not unaware of the fact that not everybody has great families or in-laws, and sometimes that becomes really, really stressful. And I absolutely respect that there are obligations, but box them. So mentally prep yourself if you know that you've got a difficult Christmas dinner ahead of you, but it has to be done for whatever reason. Don't don't make the situation worse by building it up and getting more and more resentful. Box it. I've got 4 hours. I can do this. I've done it before. And afterwards, we'll reward ourselves with some mince pies. Okay. But the important thing is your spirit. So be around the people that you want to be with, that lift your spirit. Do the things that lift your spirit. Don't always be looking for what everyone else needs. Okay. And those of you whose love language is gifts and gift giving, this is especially for you because a lot of the time our love language also represents how we want to be loved. And often you are not in or around people who have the same love language as you. So don't match your well thought out, deeply sentimental and personalized gift for what they give you if their love language is not the same as yours. So I know a few gift givers, and I understand their kind of feelings of like, I put so much time and effort into this, and then, they gave me a sorbet voucher. And then we need to just reframe that. Okay. Did they give you a sorbet voucher because they want to spoil you and they didn't know how? And this seemed like a really nice thing to go and choose what you want and go and have an hour by yourself to do that. So when I reframe it, I'm like, oh, actually, okay. It wasn't what I thought I'd get, but actually now I understand where it's coming from. Okay. So just really know yourself and don't project your reactions or your thoughts onto what's happening around you, because you're also going to get very upset quickly. Okay. Boundaries and delegate. I think I've spoken about boundaries on this workshop a year ago, and I know a lot of my colleagues who are on this call, we've spoken about this, how intentionally 2025, many of us really did the whole, okay, identify my boundaries and work on them. So firstly, to those of you who did do your boundary work, well done. But the big part of boundaries is understanding who you can delegate to and then doing that. And delegating is handing over completely, not handing over for them to do it the way you would do it. So you're watching over their shoulder and then you go and redo it anyway. That is not delegating. So if you have delegated wrapping presents to your son or your partner, then leave them. Doesn't matter if the corners aren't perfect. It doesn't matter if they don't use ribbon. It doesn't matter if there's typos or spelling errors on the card. They've done it. Say thank you and move on. That is delegating. Don't go and wake up at 3 in the morning and rewrap everybody's presents. I have a friend who's done that before because they weren't perfect and they hadn't done the bows right and it didn't look nice. And I was like, can you hear yourself? Can you hear what you've just done? 3 a.m. on Christmas morning, you were rewrapping presents for a perfection. So it's really important for you to know your boundary and identify what you delegate and then delegate it. Okay. And this is hard for everyone. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I know that it's hard for everyone, but it's really important because we are trying to enjoy our December. And I can hear some of the Enneagram ones going, but the only way I can enjoy December is if everything's perfect. I get that, but you are stressing yourself out for perfection, and that is not enjoyment. Okay. The last thing is to promote your self-worth. And this is something that needs to be visible. It needs to be clear to the people around you that I'm going to go and lie on my bed and read my book for an hour. Please leave me alone. Not because I don't like you, not because I don't want to be part of this, because I need to recharge. I want to go and read my book. And when you actively promote your self-worth, it automatically gives the people around you a voice to promote theirs. And that is a really core component to December, is that if we divvy up the chores that need to be done and everything that needs to be prepared, technically then everyone should have stuff to do. And so everyone will appreciate when it's their time to just have some self-time. And as we do this and we start kind of getting everybody a part of this rhythm, that self-worth becomes my time. It becomes important for my mental health. And each person has that experience. And so they then encourage, oh, mom's on her bed reading. I'm going to leave her because I want her to play cricket with me later. So I'm going to leave her to rest up a bit. Understanding and really respecting the self-worth and this investment in myself. And it becomes the language that we use in our families and around us. And this particular one goes back to one thing that I mentioned earlier, and that is the overcommitments. You do not have to say yes to everything. You can say no. And no is a full sentence. You don't need to justify why you're saying no. And if your self-healing or your self-rest or your self-care requires downtime, I saw somebody just message there, it's definitely the couch, yeah. Yes. If you can say no and you are prioritizing your own well-being, it's a very quick test for the people who respect that boundary or don't. And then that becomes another conversation around like who should be around you or not. But if I'm doing it, my child can see that and he can start doing that. And my brother and his family are around us and they do the same. And so this kind of ripple effect happens around me. And so year on year, December actually becomes more enjoyable for everyone because we are in the same alignment of self-care, boundaries. So, I mean, this topic of self-care could and promoting your self-worth could go on for days. It's one of my favorite topics, but I think just really for everybody on this call is it wrong if you just want to chill every day? Marlies, it's absolutely not wrong. Absolutely not. And if that's what your body needs after this year, then do that. But I think the most important thing is that when you are doing it is to do it. Don't be lying on the couch going, oh, I should be doing this. Oh, I should be cleaning that. Oh, I should. No. If this is couch time, this is where my headspace is as well. Okay. Sorry, I'm just seeing the comments. Titsa says there, that's the best strategy. Ever since I started buying my own gifts, I've received my favorite ones every time. Absolutely. And what is the best thing about that is, as you know, in my case, my son sees what I buy myself, then he'll say, Mum, are we going to get you some more candles for your presents? Because he knows that I love scented candles. And so now he's almost getting to the age where he could go and choose candles for me because this is normal. It's around for me to go, this is what I really want. Okay. So these things around prioritizing yourself, it is not a sin to prioritize yourself. Those of us that came from a Catholic upbringing, erase that, press delete, etchy sketch that socialization out. Put yourself first, because a happy me is a happy home. Very important concept. Remember, most of you on the call are the ones that control the weather in your house. If you're feeling resentful and teeth ground and it's a very stormy, cloudy house. Okay, so really put yourselves first, look after yourself, and the rest will follow. So coming into the end of December is to start thinking about the year that you've had. And I am going to actually, I'm going to ask you if you don't mind, because you've got that. If you don't mind dropping those reflection questions that I shared with you earlier today into the chat. So I love reflection. I love looking back over the year. I do it with my team. I do it with my family, is because it's such a great way to just understand what's happened in this year. How did I get to where I am today? And a very important part of this is acknowledging your wins. So this time of year, Sue started off by saying, you know, most of us are in power saving mode, battery saving mode, okay? And, you know, the recency bias means that we're just thinking about what's been happening in the last 2 weeks, frantic, you know. If you go back, those of you who journal, those of you who keep a diary, even just looking at your calendar on your phone or wherever to see what events you've been to, what trips you've taken, what exams you've written, all of those things. Go back and do a little bit of an acknowledgement of your wins. And they don't have to be the big wins. The small things that you did. Did you go consistently? Did you wanted to run this year? Did you consistently run 2 or 3 times a week? Those of you that wanted to do exams or complete studies, if you did it, if you got through your exams, if you've done that, that's that's a win. Take it. So do a little bit of an acknowledgement of your wins, and go back big and small and acknowledge them. And when I say acknowledge them, I mean say, well done, Noel, that was really good. The same way you would to somebody else. Don't just read them and kind of like, yeah. Speak out loud and acknowledge them, because if we speak to ourselves the way that we would speak to our best friend or our kids or our pets in some case, you're raising your own spirit, you're raising your confidence. You should be your biggest supporter. So give yourself a high five, acknowledge what you've achieved. And I think what this does in this particular exercise is it brings those 12 months of achievements back into the front of your mind, so that when you start thinking about what 2026 is going to be for you, you know what you can do and you can challenge yourself. So those of you, for example, that did some running races, and you know that you've just started running. One of my colleagues, Yvonne, started running recently, and I've challenged her that her birthday is at the end of March, and we're going to enter and do a 5K run together. And this is something, because she's worked on it and consistently and shared this goal, it's now something that we can do, and it's going into 2026 with us because she knows that she can do it. And this is what acknowledging your wins does. Bring them back to the front of your mind, acknowledge them, so that when you start planning 2026, you know what you can do and you can stretch yourself a bit further. Consistency. Nothing beats consistency. Consistency is not perfection. Consistency is not going to the gym every single morning. Consistency is going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week for 52 weeks. That's consistency. Consistency is not eating perfectly every single meal. Consistency is getting it right 80% of the time. Okay. I think many of you who've joined me on this type of webinar before know I'm a huge advocate for Atomic Habits, the book, which was all about 1% improvement. And if you just focus on 1% improvement in one particular area of your life, over a period of time, it will improve significantly. And that is based simply down to being consistent on working with that. And if you're jumping back and forth, you might have done 100 things, but you never really got past the first lap because you are doing all these things here. But if I commit to 2 or 3 or even 1 or 2 things, and I stay the course, come to the end of the year, this is what I'm looking back on. So consistency is really the most important gift you can give yourself. And it's the highest form of self-discipline because it requires you to override your natural impulse to hit the couch and watch Netflix, or to lie on the couch until obsessively, not just when I need to, instead of what could I do, or what have I wanted to do and I didn't because I wasn't consistent. Lifestyle audits. I've got a sheet that I'm going to share with all of you to do, and it's such a great tool to work through. It just really makes you think. Very often, my finance team, this may be saying the A word is a little bit still too sensitive for them because we've just concluded our financial year end audit in October. But the whole point of an audit is to go through what happened, what worked, what didn't work. What should we keep doing? What should we stop doing? What should we do differently? That is what an audit is telling us. So it's on numbers, but the numbers are the same as your actions. So do a lifestyle audit on yourself, and don't sugarcoat it, because the only person this is for you. This is not something you're going to share with the rest of us. Okay. So conduct a lifestyle audit and really just look deeply at what worked for me, what was going really well, what can I do differently, or what could I do better? What should I stop doing? What should I start doing? And once I can answer those questions, it really demonstrates that I know myself and I've got a handle of what I'm going to be doing for 2026. And certainly the most important part of reflection is looking back with gratitude on what the year brought for you. And that could be gratitude for the year itself. Challenging year, tough year, heartbreaking year. It could be gratitude for the people around you, for the challenges you faced with studies or Microsoft exams or AI, all right? But also acknowledging that you got through those things. Here you are. How did you do that? With resilience, with grit, and what can I take into next year? So a big component of your reflection is understanding, what am I really grateful for? And very often, it's not just the easy stuff or the good stuff or the lotto win. It's the lessons, the tough stuff. In hindsight, I'm really glad that happened because I learned this, this, and this. Okay. So really, really important component of any kind of well-being plan for December is to understand how I got here in the state that I'm in, so that I can work through this and go into a new year prepared. Okay, really, really important. So going into 2026, I saw a wonderful meme somewhere about, I don't want a new year. I want a slightly used, calm year, like an old Toyota Corolla. And I really, really love that, because that's, I think, how a lot of us feel. It's just like, okay, enough with all the new, exciting, look, the life-changing, oh, this is so... How about we just take a breath and just go into like a calm beige year? Okay. And then I realized, much like my comments about who controls the weather in your house, I can ask you, who's controlling the weather of your life? Well, it's you. So you're going to control the year. Things are going to happen. 98% of what's going on around you is completely out of your control. It's happening. Okay, so you can either get swept up in all of that and then have another crazy year, or you can just go, wait a minute, you're out of my control. This is what is in my control. This is where I'm going to focus on. This is where my planning is going to be. Absolutely respectful of the fact that life throws you curveballs and things changed, absolutely. But I can't stress about something that might happen. I can't be sitting here going, oh, I better have a plan A, B, C, D, and E, because you don't know what's going to. No, you don't. But what if it all works out? Instead of saying, oh, what's the worst that can happen? Let me plan for this. Ask yourself, what's the best that could happen? And have you planned for that? So when you are going into 2026, and it doesn't have to be when you wake up on the 1st, it can be any time in the last few weeks of this year and the first few weeks of next year. What is the year going to look like for you? And I asked everyone this a year ago. Who is the person that's going to be sitting in this chair listening to this webinar in a year's time, in 12 months' time? What do they look like? What have they achieved? What are they working on? What do their boundaries look like? Okay. So those are your intentions. What is if you want to be, I've always wanted to be a published writer. And so what do? I write blogs, or I write articles, or I write posts, whatever, because that's who I want to be. I can't want to hope I'm a published writer one day, but I'm not writing anything. So if you want to be something, then start being that thing. Don't wait for something to happen before I can be that thing. Those of you with career paths, maybe you see yourself becoming an architect one day. That's not stopping you from being an architect today. Just because your job title hasn't changed to architect doesn't mean you don't need to understand, what does an architect do? What are the questions that they would ask? Who is an architect that I can go and job shadow or ask questions or be mentored by? So when we're setting our intentions is not based on who I am today. Our intentions are based on who do I want to be. So in this case for 2026, who do I want to be on the 10th of December 2026? And that's what my intentions are going to get me. That's where my intentions are going to get me. Visualizing your goals. Those of you who are Pinterest, you know, I say it all the time, Pinterest is my first go-to. I'm very old school, I know. I love Pinterest because I'm a visual person. I love the ideas. I like planning things that way. But what it does is, if I can see it, then I know it can happen. So I started trail running, and I really enjoy trail running, mostly because I can run really slowly. And I have my commitment. I turn 50 next year, and I want to run a long trail race. It's a 38K race, and I'm really excited. It's in the Berg where I grew up. And the reason why I'm so excited is because I can really visualize it. I've got the pictures, I've got my vision board, I've entered, I know I can feel it. So it's going to happen. And that's the power of visualizing your goals. Making sure you incorporate balance into your year. Don't do everything. Don't be everything. Very important. Don't go back to slide 1. You can't do everything and you can't be everything. So don't have that as your goal for 2026. Okay. And the last component of this is that forward momentum. So once you're going forward, once you make sure that you are in motion. And when something gets you stuck, figure out what it is and fix it. Remove it, change it, ask for help, but don't stay there. Don't use your time stuck as like, oh, well, now that's it. I knew this wouldn't work, so I'm not going to do it. No. I saw that somewhere, somebody said when life changes your plans, just yell plot twist and change direction. There we go. Don't get stuck in one challenge and then stay there. Okay. So to wrap up this afternoon, I'm going to share I'm just going to show it to you so that you know what you're going to be getting, and you absolutely are more than welcome to print this and to change it or do. It's just something nice and simple that will that you can work through. Luce, just confirm that you can see my screen. or Sue?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, we can.
So just a little bit of what I've spoken about today, and those of you that use AI for some of these questions, I know that it has become more and more popular to ask AI about, what do I need to, if this is my goal for December next year, what do I need to do to get there, or what do I need to change, etc. But really, that's great if that's the way you want to do it. But I'd like to encourage you to do this the old school way, which would be get out a piece of paper and a pen and write it down. Let it come out of your hand. It's a great way for you to be present and connected when you do this exercise and to work through it. So as we already said, write your wins list, go through your calendar, go through your diary, write down all the things that you really achieved, big or small. The second exercise is one of my absolute favorite things, and that is your value add audit. So just review all of your relationships, all of your commitments, your activities, your habits, your career trajectory, and ask yourself one of these two simple questions. Did this add value to me or my life? Or did I add value to this? Did I add value to this relationship? Did I add value to this project? Did I add value to this commitment? And this is a really it starts off as a yes-no activity. And the reason why is because it's designed to make you black and white answer the tough question. Did this relationship add value to me? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you need to then go to point number 5, which is actively unsubscribe. Okay. Then unsubscribe from one-way friendships, one-way relationships, etc. Okay. So the value add audit is a really, really good exercise to do. Give yourself a dose of tough love. I said to you, think about your year, what went well, what didn't go well, what can I do differently, what can I start doing, what can I stop doing? But be honest with yourself. So what did I do or not do this year that I don't want to continue next year? So am I doing something to sabotage my own success? And be honest with yourself. Don't kid yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors if you pretend everything was fine. Okay. The next step is to design your year, and I've just spoken to you about that. What does the person look like? The person you want to be, what do they look like for December 2026? And how are you going to get there? What do you need to do to become that person? And then 5, 6, 7 are the actions that you take. So actively unsubscribe, go through all of your emails and unsubscribe to all of those Black Friday specials that you signed up for, and now your inbox is being bombarded with unnecessary spam. Go through your social media, clear out followers and accounts that you follow. Don't add junk to your life. Okay. Be brutal about one-way friendships and relationships. You can't be the person that does everything. Okay. Archive WhatsApp groups, cricket groups, school groups, community groups. Just archive them. And then be honest with yourself about toxic obligations. And if you are doing something because you feel you have to, then you shouldn't be doing it. Okay. Then some really fun things to do is to take action and to clear out your year and get into the new year's. Start with an easy one, which is clean out your closet. Excuse me. Don't take stuff into 2026 that you're not going to wear and that you're not going to use. So give it away. Declutter your physical world, because as you declutter your physical world, it gives your mental world space to declutter as well. Okay. And write down your thoughts in a journal, put down your tasks on a to-do list, and write your worries on a burn paper, and then burn it. Throw it in your bra, your New Year's bra. Put those worries there. Okay. So don't hold on to anything that doesn't need to come into 2026 with you. And lastly, as I said, give yourself thanks. Acknowledge yourself and the people. You've given thanks to the people around you, but you also need to give yourself gratitude and thanks for your capability, your grit, and your grace that got you here today. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I'd like to leave you all. And I hope that going into December now, you feel a bit more equipped and in control, and you've got a plan, that you know how you're going to manage this time of year effectively. I'm going to add that sheet for you here as an attachment so you can download it and use it as you see fit. Thanks, Sue.
Thank you so much, Law. As a recovering Enneagram 1 with many of my colleagues on the call as well, I totally resonate with the don't be a perfectionist. It's taken me a long time, and my family actually says I think I'm the manager of the family because I'm firstborn as well. So I totally get that. So many great nuggets to share. And thank you for the handouts, which you'll find in the chat window. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us for the final session of the year. And thank you for consistently showing up to all of our webinars. You've been the reliable meeting attendee we wish all our calendars were filled with. As we wrap up, this is your official permission slip to log off your brain for a bit. Close all the tabs in your mind that have been running since March, archive the stress, delete the noise. And yes, you can tell everyone to circle back in 2026. I've been using that all the time. And I think it's the only acceptable out of office energy for December. We appreciate your time and your engagement and always your willingness to learn with us month on month. And we'll share the details of our next session when we're back in January. And we look forward to starting the new year with you refreshed and ready for the next round. So everyone enjoy the festive season. Rest well, recharge, and may your biggest decision be beach or couch or book or wine. So yeah, have a wonderful festive season all. Thank you so much.
Sue, it won't let me add. For some reason, I can't upload the document. But Lucy, I've just shared it with Lucy, and Lucy can email it or send it out to everybody who joined today.
Yeah, Lucy can do that now.
Thanks
so much,
everybody.
everyone.